I wanted to keep data consistent across scenes in Unity without relying on singletons or player prefs. In this video, we use Scriptable objects as a data holder to handle an object between different scenes. Let's dive in. Scriptable objects are assets that store data. They don't get destroyed when switching scenes, making them perfect for sharing data between scenes. Let's create one. Right-click on the assets, in the script, create scripting, Scriptable object script. I'll name it player controller holder. In the script, we inherit from Scriptable object instead of money behavior and add a create asset menu attributes so we can create an asset from it. What we will do now is invoke in a player controller a player animation function. But the invoker would be located in a different scene, meaning in the level 2. So we will need a Scriptable object to pass a player controller object to the level 2. Usually I would use an interface to do so, but for simplicity we will pass a player controller object as a whole. Let's start. We'll open a player controller holder and we will create a public variable player controller which will be named player controller. Then to the player object we will add a player controller assigner which will be assigning a player controller to the player controller holder during the initialization. Player controller and the second player controller holder. And if player controller holder is not null, we will assign a player controller holder, player controller, to player controller. And then we will create this scriptable object inside the data folder. Create at the bottom scriptable object and player controller holder. Then to the player, we will assign a player controller, just like that, and a player controller holder using a search option. Now what we need is to create a receiver in our level 2 scene. Let's create an animation controller to level 2 and add an animation controller. In the animation controller, we will need a player controller holder, and at the start, if the player controller holder is not null, we will invoke a play animation function of player controller. And for safety, we will use a question mark, so when player controller is null, function won't be invoked. And what we should do is to assign a player controller holder in the animation controller and let's test it out. Our first scene is loaded. Now go to the trigger to add another one. And as you can see, there is a message. I'm playing an animation, which is exactly what we needed because in player controller, we have a debug log. I'm playing an animation in the play animation function. And that's it. Let's summarize what we have done. First of all, we have created a scriptable object which holds a player controller. And then, in the player object, we have created a player controller assigner which assigned a player controller to the player controller holder. In another scene, we have created an animation controller which has a player controller holder reference and use this play an animation in the player controller class. And now you've learned how to handle an object between different scenes using scriptable objects. This method is clean, avoid using singletons, and makes your data management scalable. If you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more Unity tips and tutorials. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Ciao!